Welcome to Politics Talk. We thank you for tuning us in this Wednesday, March 3rd, 2021. Beautiful sunshiny day after all that rain over the past few weeks. So I got out and enjoyed some of that. Hope you all did as well. I hear more and more birds singing, and even saw some birds playing earlier today, which was really cool. So it was a good day. Warmer weather is on the way. I think we can all use some warmer weather right about now, and there's some sort of return to normal, whatever the new normal is or will be. I don't think things will ever be the way they were previously, but I do believe that our new normal will be different, but it'll be better. And I have to say that, like, I've seen, for example, families like a mother, father, and children out riding their bicycles together. It takes me back to when I was a child, and where that was normal. And nowadays, with technology and electronics, it's become anything but. It's that's a good thing. But I also know that there's been a lot of damage done as well. But I believe our new normal will present opportunities that will help us all to grow and get better. So we look forward to that. So again, we thank you for joining us. Again, this is Wednesday, March 3rd, 2021. Of course, our website is politicstalk.com. You can reach me on my email, eric@politicstalk.com. We're on social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Please click share, like, follow, and please click subscribe or hit subscribe to our YouTube channel. So every time we do a new video, or a new show, it will send you an automatic notification of the new show. And again, we're excited. We'll mention this every show to the first part of April. We're still targeting the first part of April for our new platforms: Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and other podcasts locations, as well as our current ones, and also an interactive format where people will be able to send in. We have interactive debate on sports topics, which we're excited about. So, a lot of great things coming. Warmer weather coming. People are starting tax refunds, stimulus checks, new formats to the show. Life's great. So stay tuned for that. So today we're going to be talking about, and this is sort of a playful one, but today we're going to talk about when the cat's away, the mice will play. When the cat's away, the mice will play. We're going to talk about how the sports part of that, as we get to the intersection, will be Anthony Davis being out and the Lakers losing again last night to Phoenix. And the Lakers have been struggling without AD. But then also on the politics side of things, we'll talk about how the posture of President Biden, a grown-up, compared to the posture of current former President 45, how now world leaders are having to, they got a 4-year break from having to deal with a real president now. Now they're dealing with a real president, and now they're seeing that things are much different. So we'll look forward to that. Of course, we have a Twitter poll coming up later on in the show. That'll be an NBA related Twitter poll that we look forward to talking about. So again, we thank you for joining us. Let's dive right into some news. And again, we're with our COVID numbers. We are because of how important COVID is, and we realizing that until COVID is under control, that we will continue to have these restrictions, and we have to have these safeguards in place, so that we can all stay safe while the vaccines are rolling out. So until COVID's under control, every show we will be talking about COVID numbers. Okay, so as well as now we'll be talking about COVID vaccines in addition to. So we talk about the solutions that are being implemented to help us come out of this crisis. So let's start with COVID numbers. In terms of cases, new cases. Yesterday, Tuesday the 2nd, 57,789. That's better. The 7-day average, 65,468. That's still kind of high, but that's better than what it was even 3 weeks ago. Total cases 28.8 million. 28.8 million. Let that sink into your brain, folks. 28.8 million. That's almost 10% of the U.S. population. Let that sink in. Okay, let that sink in. I mean, it's like 8.7% of the U.S. population. Anyhow, COVID deaths, new COVID deaths, 1,306. That's better. Still awful, but it's better. Okay, that's still 1,306 lives lost that are no longer with us. Remember, those are mothers, fathers, children, cousins, friends, grandmas, grandpas. Okay, those are 1,306 families across our country that are going through and experiencing loss. Okay, we continue to pray for all of those families. Okay, total deaths over 517,000. Again, that's more than World War One, World War Two, and Vietnam. Okay, the total deaths experienced there. So that's the numbers are getting better. I did see that the states of Mississippi and Texas have lifted their mask mandate, which I think is ignorant and stupid. Okay, I think that's ignorant and stupid. Okay, it's and I'm gonna try to behave here. Okay, it's Texas is the second leading state in the country with deaths, with cases and deaths. Okay, second leading in the country. Okay, but they want to be the first to lift restrictions. Okay, so it's and in Mississippi, we want to talk about people, the governor of Mississippi, and again, these are red Republican states that didn't believe COVID was real in the first place. Okay, some of them still don't. Not wearing a mask, but likely some of the first people in line to get a shot. For someone who said COVID wasn't real, 45 and his wife got their shots back in January. I'm just saying. Okay, enough of that. Let's talk vaccinations. So doses given so far 78.6 million. That means first and second shots. Okay, of course the Johnson & Johnson one-shot vaccine is now out. Okay, so there were 1.73 million vaccinations given yesterday, Tuesday, March 2nd, which is great. It means that we're rolling right along. And people who have been fully vaccinated, 26.2 million have been totally vaccinated. That's 7.97%. So we're getting there. Of course, with Johnson & Johnson vaccine that's now available. Again, it only requires one shot. President Biden has activated the Defense Production Act, which means the Merck, the pharmaceutical company Merck, will help to produce, and the Johnson & Johnson vaccine says that's a one-shot vaccine to bring more shots to market faster. And so now President Biden is saying by the end of May, any adult who wants to get a shot, who wants to get vaccinated, will be able to get vaccinated. So that's a good thing. Okay, we still have to see about children and what have you, but that's a good thing. Okay, so it seems like we're headed in the right direction. Okay, so again, we still have to wear a mask. We still have to socially distance, and we still have to stay out of large gatherings. Okay, if we're going to be in a gathering of a small gathering, then keep your distance and wear your mask. And now they're suggesting wearing 2 masks. Okay, overnight yesterday in Iraq, okay, several missiles hit some bases inside of Iraq where some where some U.S. soldiers were stationed. No injuries or deaths reported. Okay, and this is likely in retaliation to when President Biden, authorized an attack on the Syrian-Iranian border. Okay, in response to some tensions boiling over there. So we'll talk more about that at the intersection because again, that's a part of what we'll be talking about at the intersection. So I don't want to get into too much of that, here. COVID stimulus update. Okay, we were updating that, from time to time as, the The deadline is March 14th. That's what they're aiming for. That's when the current enhanced unemployment will run out. Okay, so they're trying to get all this passed. The House has passed their version. The Senate is working on some of their on their version. They have dropped. The Senate is dropping the $15 an hour minimum wage, which I think needs to happen. But some parliamentarians said that doesn't qualify for reconciliation under Senate rules, so that had to be dropped. But the unemployment. I'm sorry. The minimum wage is $7.25 an hour. That wasn't enough. That wasn't enough for a minimum wage 15 years ago. It's certainly not enough today. It just isn't. Okay, so I'm hoping that Bernie Sanders and other senators will work to, and other politicians will work to get people the money they need so they can make a living wage. Because the more they earn in a living wage. Here's a newsflash, politicians, the less they will need government assistance. Ta-da! See how that works? I'm just saying. Just saying. So other parts of the package that President Biden and the Democrats in the Senate have agreed to additional $400 a week on top of whatever the state unemployment that you get from your state to the end of August. Okay, which is about 6.5 months. Okay, and some other. There's money in there for COVID distribution, COVID vaccine distribution. Excuse me, state and local governments, and $1,400 stimulus checks. Now they have trimmed that down to where the phase out will start at $75,000 to $80,000, and anyone over $80,000, according to what they're working on, will not get a check. But it'll phase, so it'll be lower than $1,400 if you're between 75, 80,000, over 80,000. With what they're talking about, there'll be no stimulus check. Excuse me. This version does include, however, $1,400 checks because I have a daughter in college. Okay, so it does include $1,400 checks for your children who are over 17, but if they're under a certain age, if they're in college, if they're still a dependent. So it does include that, which is different from the previous stimulus checks. So there's progress there. It's looking like they are headed towards getting that done. Also, before we get into our sports news and what have you, the House has, because of intelligence that states that the far-right extremist group is planning another attack on the U.S. Capitol. The House of Representatives, they are suspending their session in the House tomorrow out of an abundance of caution. We will see what the Senate does, and I hope those people who are talking about doing it, that they have a come to Jesus moment. Okay, they're not going to be kind to this. If you try this again, you're likely going to get shot. Okay, so try it again. Okay, and I hope you don't. I mean, stay home and just, we were good sports when 45 won. We didn't like it. Okay, it made me sick. Okay, but we were good sports when your person won. Be a good sport and let it be okay that someone else other than your candidate won. Okay, Trump's not coming back in office tomorrow. Okay, he lost by over 7 million votes. Okay, he lost, and he has deserted you. You all are still trying to carry the banner and a flag for someone who doesn't give a flying fig about you. He's down in his Florida resort in Palm Beach on the ocean. He's not. Is he coming to do any rallies with y'all to keep y'all rallied up? To do any rallies to keep y'all fired up? You people who are supporters of his that are maybe that maybe are uneducated. Okay, are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? Are you? Why are you still supporting someone that cares nothing about you? Cares nothing about you. It's all about him and his family. I'm just saying. Let's move on and talk some sports news here. So I get fired up with stuff like that. Sports news: the LA County Sheriff, and this is interesting. We'll see where this leads. LA County Sheriff to get a warrant for the black box of the SUV that Tiger Woods driving for his accident. So first of all, I guess I think I sort of knew that vehicles had black boxes, but now I know for sure that they do because they have now they're obtaining a warrant to get the information off that black box, and they said that there could be charges coming. That's interesting. There's more. Some information has been found out about that they're not making public, and they typically don't release information on an ongoing investigation. But that's interesting. We'll see where that leads. James Harden and the Brooklyn Nets visit Houston tonight. Of course, James Harden going back to Houston, where he went from being a reserve in Oklahoma City, six man, to being a star and one of the best offensive players in the game in Houston. He cut his teeth in Houston. Now he's with Brooklyn, and they're visiting tonight. So, obviously it won't be the full going back home treatment because of limited fan capacity. I don't know if they will have full fan capacity or not, but we'll see what kind of reception James Harden gets. I personally have no problem with James Harden leaving Houston. They were not willing. They weren't going to win. They just weren't. After they lost to Golden State, pre-Kevin Durant, I don't know if Durant was there. Durant was there. They had Golden State down 3-2. Okay, and then CP3 gets hurt in game 5, I believe. Game 5, and they're going to lose games 5 and 6, 6 and 7 to lose the series. They haven't been the same since. So we'll see how the fans treat Mr. Harden when they return tonight. NBA All-Star Weekend is this weekend. Okay, now they're going to sort of abbreviate and have everything in one day because of COVID restrictions. Okay, so we're talking about the skills challenge. Where you dribble the ball through the barriers. You pass the ball through an opening, and then you have to do a layup, and then you have to end it. Whoever gets to that point and hits a 3-pointer. I think a 3-pointer or what I think it's a 3-pointer or half court shot wins that one. That competition. And they do like rounds, okay? And then the 3-point shooting contest, and that's actually our Twitter poll question: who will win the NBA 3-point shooting contest? Okay, who will win the 3-point shooting contest at this weekend's NBA All-Star Weekend? Okay, so we're talking about, and so the choices that I have on the question is Steph Curry, Zach LaVine, Donovan Mitchell, and Devin Booker. Okay, I personally think Steph Curry is still the best shooter I've ever seen. I'm putting my money on him to win. And then, of course, we have the slam dunk contest. Okay, there's 3 people so far that are in. I think they're trying to get a 4th. No one of really note with that, so we'll see about that. And then, of course, the All-Star game itself. So that'll be interesting to see that. So all that is, I believe, Sunday. I believe. So we'll see. I always like watching the NBA All-Star games. I mean, it's seeing the best stars coming together. Of course, Durant and LeBron will choose their teams. I think they're doing that tonight, if I'm not mistaken. This is Wednesday night. I don't know. I don't know if they've already selected their teams or not. I think they may have did, but we'll see. They'll be choosing their team soon. Maybe doing that tonight. So that's this weekend. Okay, so excuse me. I'm sorry, folks, for the cough. I have a little bit of a dry throat. I apologize for that. Get a swig of water there. Wash all that down. And J.J. Watt, again, signs a 2-year, $31 million, $23 million guaranteed with the Arizona Cardinals. And again, not sure what caused him to go to Arizona. I mean, they're an interesting young team, and I mean, yeah. Now, I will tell you this: now Arizona's getting better year after year. I mean, a few years ago they got Kyler Murray. Last year they brought over DeAndre Hopkins. Now they're getting J.J. Watt. They're improving. Okay, they're pushing their chips into the middle of the table. Okay, so it'll be in that loaded NFC West. When you talk about, I mean, let's look at these defenses that you have to deal with in the NFC West. You talk about the defense of the 49ers. Bosa's going to be back. Remember a couple years ago that defensive front four in San Francisco was dominant. Okay, then you have the Rams with what's his name? Number 99. I can see is Aaron Donald. Sorry about that, Aaron Donald, and that defense. Okay, now you have J.J. Watt with the Arizona defense with the other pass rusher they have. That NFC West is going to be a gauntlet. Okay, now I think Russell Wilson will really want to leave. Because he's going to play those three defenses twice a year. That's 6 games where he'll be running for his life, unless the Seattle Seahawks do something about that defensive line, which is offensive. It really is. So as we go to the intersection here, remember our website is politicstalk.com. Email is eric@politicstalk.com. We're on our social media. You can find us on social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Please click share, like, follow, subscribe. So again, the purpose of Politics Talk is where we talk about everyday news, sports news, and then at the intersection is where we take the name of, we have a theme for that show, and we talk about how there's a theme that applies to both sports and life, but we also talk about how sports and life, how they interact and intersect with each other, and how that affects our society. Now, remember our slogan is sports, politics, humanity. Sports, politics, humanity. So under sports, politics, humanity, we also talk about religion. We talk about economics. We talk about social issues. Of course, politics and sports. We talk about all of those under the umbrella of Politics Talk. Okay, so you can sit down and listen to this with your friends. We laugh here. We get a little silly. We get serious. So we have some silly. We have some serious. We have some playful. But we also have some informative also. Where we look to inform, okay, about what's going on, then offer my opinions. I'm kind of opinionated. Can't you tell? Okay, I have an opinion. So that's what we do here. Okay, so you can listen. This is safe to listen to with your children, with your friends, with your girlfriends, talking to women and their girlfriends, guys, and so it's just good to listen to. This is water cooler talk, where we're just sort of talking about things. That's all this is. Okay, so again, social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Please click share, like, follow, and subscribe. So if you go to Politics Talk at the top of the page, you can click on in the red box, listen to broadcast. It'll take you to a page where all of our shows that we've ever done are there. You can listen. You can select the show you want to listen to, and our shows are between 30 and 40 minutes long. Okay, we have the title of the show and the date, so you can see the date and the title of the show, so you can take a listen and share this on social media with some friends and family members and what have you. And we really appreciate you giving us a listen. So tonight we're going to talk about, again, the subject is when the cat's away, the mice will play. So I remember, before I get to my, as Stephen A. Smith calls my soliloquy, again, so the political side of things, we're talking about President Biden versus Donald Trump. And then we're talking about basketball, Anthony Davis being out versus the Lakers, and the Lakers have been struggling since he's been out. That's the sports and politics that we're going to talk about. Excuse me. Under when the cat's away, the mice will play. So when I was a child, I remember when I would go and spend a night over, a cousin's house or a friend's house, and which we did a lot of that back then. I don't know if kids still do that a whole lot today, but we did a lot of that back then. So my parents were disciplinarians. I got some of the butt whoopings. I was on a schedule. Okay, it's like, come here, boy. It's Sunday at 2:00. Come get you at 2:00 on a Sunday. It was never abuse, but I got butt whoopings, and I needed every one of them. I really did. Probably could have used a few more. But whenever I would go visit and then come back, because when I would go visit, they would, the people I was visiting, their parents were much more laid back and let us have a little more fun. And then when we would go back home, reality set in on us, and I got a few more butt whoopings to get us back in shape of being at home. Has that happened to anybody? My hands up. Same thing with my kids when they were younger. Okay, we raised them to be disciplined. Okay, in the disciplined home. They would go away for a visit, and then when they would come back, we'd have to get them back in shape. Isn't it funny how that works? And even works with pets. Okay, but my youngest daughter Erica. Okay, she has a little dog Shadow, which has grown up in our family. He's over 8 years old, and we raised Shadow to be disciplined. He didn't get up on the furniture without being asked to. If we tell him to do something, we tell him once. If he doesn't do it, we lock him up in his cage or whatever. So we love him, but we also discipline them. So I was visiting my daughter Erica, and Shadow was we have to tell Shadow to be quiet several times, and so as soon as Erica went and visited, came back to visit her mom. Okay, her mom had to get Shadow back in shape. So when Shadow would act the fool, okay, then he get dealt with. Okay, so Shadow probably doesn't want to go visit her anymore. I'm just saying. But anyway, so we're gonna talk about President Biden versus President Trump in terms of their approach to Russia, China, and what's going on in Iran, and also the struggles of the Lakers with Anthony Davis, and they were out without Dennis Schroeder for a little while. He's back, but we're going to talk about the similarities between the two. So again, there was President Biden, under President 45, his approach to Russia was Russia never did anything wrong. They got to do whatever they wanted to do, and a lot of world leaders were able to get away with a lot of things they normally don't get away with a U.S. president, Republican or Democrat. Okay, so the cat was away for 4 years, which means 45 was there to have his little reality show, but the mice played, which means foreign leaders played and took advantage of us, including Vladimir Putin of Russia. Okay, China, 45 was kind of hard on China, but now Syria, Iran. Okay, and so in North Korea. Okay, so President Biden now has basically told Russia, okay, we know you for what you're, and even Saudi Arabia, we know you for what you are, we know what you've done, okay, and we're going to hold you accountable. Okay, same thing with Saudi Arabia. Excuse me. Again, I apologize for the call, folks. With Saudi Arabia, because of what happened with Jamal Khashoggi, the reporter, I believe the Washington Post reporter, who was brutally murdered and dismembered. Okay, so now that the cat's back, the world leaders can't play anymore. They have to behave themselves. Okay, isn't that interesting how that works? With the Los Angeles Lakers, Anthony Davis has been out several games. So he's going to be out several more games. The Lakers have been struggling. Okay, Anthony Davis comes back, and they're taking their time with his recovery, which they should. Then order will be restored, and the Lakers will be back to where they're supposed to be. Okay, now that being said, they still need to make a trade, but that's a different show for another day. Okay, so when we look at this, we're talking about, okay, even at work, like when your boss. Now it's kind of different, during COVID because a lot of people are working remotely. But I remember working in corporate America before, and when managers were off the floor in a meeting or what have you, we could cut up a little bit. We could joke around and play the little football with the little triangle shaped football. Remember, I haven't played that game in a long time. I was really good at that game. We could act up, but when the managers when the managers were on the floor, or we had to, especially certain managers. Like I remember, for example, years ago, I worked at Rallies, and it's called Snaps back in Ohio when it first came to Akron. Okay, and it's called Snaps, which is part of Rallies and Checkers. Okay, and I remember working there. I was much younger. I was like 18, 19, something like that. And I worked there, and I worked like the night shift. Not a night person, but I worked the night shift. Okay. And there were certain managers. Okay, we had one manager, Posey. His name was Posey. Okay, when he was there, we didn't eat French fries out of the French fry bin. Okay, we had to do everything. We could laugh and joke a little bit, but I mean, he was very strict, and we had to do our work. Now, Dave, the manager, Dave was cool. I mean, we could eat French fries out of the French fry bin. We could have a burger while we're working. We could have milkshakes. Didn't have to pay for it. None of that stuff. But Diane didn't play either. Okay, Diane wouldn't let us eat out of the French fry bin either. And Riley's has some really good French fries. I'm just saying. I miss Riley's. Don't have anything like that here in Charlotte. Well, I wonder why. The Big Buford is no joke. Also, I'm just saying. But it's interesting that the approach that we have when we have someone who's over us is present versus when they're not. Okay, how our approach differs with that. So, just wanted to talk about that. So, as we go to our humanity close we issue a challenge. Remember, that's part of what our humanity is. We take what we've talked about today and we issue a challenge. Okay. Now we want to be mindful of authority. We want to respect authority. Okay. And we want to, and remember, and I was taught this by my pastor that, at some point you might be managing people. Be the type of employee that you want someone to be should you become a manager, which means, if there are things that you would or would not do in front of a strict manager, then do it even when they're not looking, which means do the right thing and perform at a high level. Because someday it might just be you managing people, and the seeds you're sowing as being an employee, okay, will be what will grow when you are managing people. So be the example that you want, what you want people to give you when you get in that position. Okay, see how that works? Okay, so as we prepare to close, remember our shows are Mondays and Wednesdays, which we normally have posted by about 7. Okay, and then we do our blog every Thursday. So we will have a new blog up tomorrow. We try to have the blog up by about 5 o'clock. Okay, so again, we thank you for listening. Our website is SpoliticsTalk.com. You can reach me by email, Eric@SpoliticsTalk.com. On social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Please click share, like, follow, subscribe. Say that 3 times really fast. And so, and we thank you for listening, and we look forward to seeing you next Monday, March 8th. And remember, All-Star Weekend, this weekend festivities. Enjoy that. And remember our Twitter poll question, who's going to win the 3-point shooting contest? My vote is for Steph Curry. Tell me what you think. Appreciate you listening. Have a good night.